lesson on Essential Elements Book 2, page 15, number 65, The Fig Tree. This might be a totally unpopular opinion, but I love figs. I think they're good. For the tempo for everybody when you're doing this, I'm going to be going 100 beats per minute. That's like the slowest tempo for allegretto, which is not quite andante, but not quite allegro. For everybody, just so when you're looking at it, you're going to start at a forte. So I would start at the frog of your bow, and then by the end of the fourth measure, you're all going to be piano, and then you're going to crescendo back up to a forte into the last measure. That's something that all of you have, so I'm not going to discuss it in the individual instruments. Just do it. You are still in the key of A major. So what I would do is I would go back to number 63 and 64, warm up on those scales, preferably with a drone, and then you can go and play number 65, and it'll be amazing. All right, let's get into each instrument. Okay, violins, let's do this. Make sure you're starting at the frog, and in order to get to the frog, you have to have a nice bow hold with your pinky on top, and your thumb has to be bent. It's almost like it's making a little mountain. So make sure you have a bent thumb. You don't have to use little bows at the beginning, just use less bow on your eighth notes. So you're not accidentally moving with your shoulder, you're thinking more out when you're doing that. And lighten up when you get, gradually when you get to that piano. What I think you should worry about the most is on your E string, you have G sharp, so that's just high second finger like normal, and then you also have a C sharp on your A string, which you've been playing forever, so it shouldn't be too crazy. Other than that, this should be pretty straightforward. Don't forget the lift, 3 measures from the end. All right, let's play it. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, violas. When you're playing this, you have to start on a 4th finger A, which sometimes can be difficult. So what I like to do in this particular situation is go to your 4th finger, or what you think is your 4th finger. If you have tapes, it makes it a little easier. And you can compare that before you start to your open A. And if they match, then you're correct. If you do not have a straight wrist when you're starting this out, your 4th finger will become less than what a 3rd finger is, and it will be very crusty sounding, and it'll be, don't do it. Don't go there. My suggestion is make sure you can practice in a mirror to make sure everything is straight. If you have to take your watch off to do that, you can, but I can see it. It's right there. Look at it. Look how straight it is. So it's going to be fun. So that's what I would do to set yourself up. The next note I would set up before you even start playing, once you got your 4th finger, I would then set up your G sharp right next to it, because it's the next 2 notes you're going to have to play. So set yourself up for success so that when you do that, it's already there. You don't have to worry about it. When you go into the 3rd measure, you go from open string, kind of hover your high 3rd finger over your C sharp, so that's not going to be out of tune. Same thing as all the other instruments going to say, watch your bow hold, your pinky goes on top, and you're also going to make sure that your thumb is bent, making a mountain, so that you can use those long bows and then also have the control to lighten up when you get to the piano and then use more pressure again. Don't do this. Go out. So let's play it, violas. This is number 65 on page 15, The Fig Tree for viola. 1, 2, ready, play. Alright, cellos. Your fingerings are all written in the book, which is very helpful. For the entire song, you're going to be staying in that extended position. So when you start, even though you're starting with an open A string, I would have make sure your second finger is opposite your thumb. So your thumb's going to travel with you. I would have that fourth finger ready to go. So you're just going, and it's there. You don't have to think about it. Your hand's already set up for you, because the rest of them, you're just taking your fingers off. It'll be a little easier for you. I would also watch your third measure. You still have to stay in that extended position. So once you're going from your open D, make sure that fourth finger stays in tune, and your first finger also has to be in tune. I would say those are probably the trickiest two measures. Going back up the scale is a little bit easier because you're adding your fingers as opposed to taking them off and then going and adding fingers like a fourth finger. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told the other instruments. Watch your bow hold. I even put a pinky cup so I'm not tempted to do a violin bow hold on mine. And make sure your thumb is bent. Make it like a mountain. All right, let's get into it. This is number 65 on page 15, the fig tree for cello. 1, 2, ready, play. Let's look at this. Yours kind of jumps octaves, which can be confusing, but as you well know, that often happens in your music. Make sure in the first measure, your fourth finger G sharp will be in tune. It's just a regular fourth finger, but sometimes getting over to your E string. Maybe you have to do this with your elbow to reach. Like you can't do this. Your fingers won't reach. So make sure your elbow comes out. The other thing that can seem awkward is once you've played your open E, at the end of the second measure, you have to cross strings and skip your A string to go to open D, and then you'll go to your A string with a fourth finger C sharp. Other than that, it can be pretty good. I would make sure that you are digging into the string for a forte, like get a really nice, good sound. Make sure you are also having a good bow hold bases. Your fingers are all the way over, and you also have to bend your thumb if you're using a French bow. If you're using a German bow hold, then you would do that bow hold. All right, so let's get into it. This is number 65 on page 15, the fig tree for bass. 1, 2, ready, play. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, everybody. So that was number 65, the fig tree for Essential Elements Book 2. If you have any questions, let me know in Google Classroom, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.